Alright, today we are going to be changing out the air filter. What you'll need is a 10mm socket, a T25 bit, a 4mm bit, and a 6mm bit. I already loosened all these up, so you're just going to loosen these 4 screws here. This little panel comes off. Just be careful not to lose any of these little spacers. This panel is simply held on by Velcro, so you just pop that right off. This little rubber key thing has to come off, and then this you twist off. As you can see, it twists on and off. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this 10mm off and these 10mm out as well. And then what you're going to do is take the 6mm, and there'll be 2 Allen keys here. Move them. You reach down under the tank, and there'll be these little pins here, and you just simply pull up on it, and the whole tank panel just comes right off. And we're going to do that to both sides. You can either take the top off first if you want, or the bottom. I usually just pop it right out from the bottom. As you can see, it just kind of wedges right in there and there when you go to put this back on. Now to get this off, you're going to need to take your gas cap off. You can take your seat off. It'll make it a little bit easier to get this on and off, but it's not required. Then what I do is just put the gas cap back on so I'm not smelling fumes. And then you're going to take your Torx bit and you're going to pop all these screws out. Alright, well, the Torx bit's out. It usually gets a little stuck in here, so I just take a screwdriver and kind of pry it up right there. Then you just pull the whole thing right out. And there's your filter. So I put this in probably about 10,000 miles ago, so I'm just doing my spring cleaning with it. There's your filter. There's your intake tubes. And not too much dirt down there. So what I'll do is I'll clean this like you normally would, and then just do a reverse of what we just did. And that's it. It's also a good time to check your coolant level. Also, when you're doing your air filter maintenance, depending on your mileage, Indian wants you to check your spark plugs. I just did them. I didn't think to video it, but I'll give you a couple pointers. You're going to take these handles off on both sides, and there is an Allen key that holds the seat on, whether you have the tractor seat or the normal seat. The seat just pops right off. There'll be 2 bolts inside here. You can just take your tail light straight out, and you're going to see 2 bolts under here, so they have to come out. And then you're gonna see a bolt here and a bolt here, and then you don't have to take your footrest off if you don't want to. So essentially what you're gonna do is you're just gonna pop this half of the subframe off. And once you do that, you're gonna come up here, and there's a bolt here for your gas fuel tank, and there'll be a bolt back here for your fuel tank, and a bolt right here for your fuel tank. There's a vent hose here, and there'll be a vent hose back here. Your fuel pump and your sending unit and all that stuff will be here with some quick disconnects. You just disconnect that, and essentially your whole fuel tank will just kind of come over here as long as with the fuel line. There's also a fuel line that kind of runs right up in here, and there's a little slot that you really can't see it. But there's your fuel line that runs right up through there. That'll kind of just come out of the slot. Once you get that out, you're going to come in here, and there'll be an Allen key here and here on your airbox, and then a third one right down there. Essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to lift the back of the airbox up, and you're going to pop it out of these 2 little pins here, and the whole airbox will just lift straight out. And there are your little intake tubes. Once you have it there, then it's just a simple, there's 2 coils. That's pretty easy. You just pop the coils out, throw in your spark plugs. I switched to Iridium spark plugs, so I won't have to do this as much. And then yes, everything's just reassembling. So you don't have to take off this side of the subframe, so that way you don't have to deal with these bolts or removing your shock. And then there'll be 10mm bolts for this bracket down here. You also have to take out, but it's not too bad. I can have it apart and reinstalled within an hour, so it's pretty simple. And that's it.